How's it going, everyone? It's Daikin here bringing you another Granblue Versus Rising video, and today we're going to be talking all about the free edition of Granblue Versus Rising. That's right, if you haven't heard by now, Granblue Versus Rising will be having a free edition available at launch alongside the standard edition releasing at midnight tonight. So if you were ever on the fence about the game or not too big into anime fighting games but wanted to dabble into the latest feature-rich fighting game, this is definitely the biggest chance you got. Okay, so now you may be asking, what exactly is coming in the free version of the game? Well, let's go over the details, as the Granblue Versus Rising dev team was kind enough to give us a detailed product comparison chart to analyze. As announced on Twitter today, the free edition of Granblue Versus Rising will have Gran permanently playable with 3 additional characters on rotation every week. The starting week will be the Djeeta, Zeta, and Siegfried, accompanying Gran at the launch of the game. Arcade mode and versus mode will also be both fully available for you to explore with the characters you have, and unfortunately training mode will have some features disabled, and I'm not sure what this may entail, but if it's anything like the demo, then it might include frame data and character specific settings. As we can see here, the story mode has multiple parts. However, only part 1 of the story mode will be available to be played in the free version of Granblue Versus Rising. Also, figure mode will also be limited to default figures only. However, rank and casual matches are fully available for you to experience. But unfortunately, this does not include room matches, so unfortunately you can't get together with your friends in a lobby together and enjoy a night of mashing buttons together. Y'all can, however, still get together to fight your friends in the lobby matches, which are still fully available to you in the free edition for players as well. Crossplay and the Granblue Legend modes are also there for you to enjoy, which should go without saying. However, you will be limited to the free edition default avatars and weapon cutouts. As far as your partners go, which are basically the cute chibi versions of your characters which talk to you within the lobby or encourage you after battles, they will be limited to only Gran, Vern, and Lyria. Another downside of the free version is you cannot use the save data feature if you played the previous titles to carry over your story progress, characters' colors, and weapon skins. And the last few limits for the free edition are going to be the character levels being capped at 80 out of 500 and your Granblue Legend level being capped at 40. Now, unfortunately, I don't know the max level of the Granblue mode. I have yet to play it myself, so I don't know how many rewards you're actually missing out on by that limit. And that pretty much covers what will be available to you for the free edition of Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. Now, being that Gran, the Djeeta, Zeta, and Siegfried are the 4 free characters in the launch rotation of the free edition, I think it's no better time than now to thoroughly go over these characters so you can hit the ground all running. Yesterday I did my character overview video where I quickly went over the tool sets of each character. Today I will deeply go into each character's kit so you can understand what they bring to the table. Alright, so now that we're finally on the game, we can finally start talking about the characters that are going to be in the first rotation, and we're going to be starting off with Gran because he is the permanent character. So if you want a character that's going to be stable as far as the free edition and you know you're always going to have him, then Gran will be your man. So Gran is going to be the Shoto of the game. He is an all-arounder, so he's not going to excel in one area, but he's going to have the tools to actually play in most areas. We're going to start off with his normals, and then we're going to go to his special moves. So starting off with his standing light, his light is not bad. This is going to be a pretty good button for you. It's actually going to be plus. You actually can have your turn. It's going to be +1 for you as far as things go. So you are going to be plus over this, which is going to be nice. So you can actually contest a little bit. This is your standing medium. Nice big range on this standing medium. Got some nice range on it, as you can see. This is his standing heavy. His standing heavy is really good along with his standing medium to like pretty much fish for counter hits inside of the neutral. Very good buttons to toss out inside the neutral. His crouching light kick is going to be this. You could chain it twice, so it actually is going to be something you could chain, and they're both low attack, so that's something that's going to be good. His crouching medium is actually going to be plus, so this is actually plus, which is not something that is common inside this game. So if I press it, now press something out afterwards, you can see that I got a counter hit there because this is something that's going to be plus. And then his big anti-air, which is his 2H right here. So there's giant anti-air. So these are his main buttons on the ground outside of his 5U, which we'll talk about a little bit later because this is going to be something very unique for this character. Talking about his air buttons next. So his jump light, like most jump lights, if you press it in the air, it is active all the way till it hits the ground or until it hits something in the air, and it's going to be an overhead for you as well. So this is an anti-air you can do if you just want to jump and with something that's going to be always active so you don't have to mistime it, then you can do that. His jump medium is going to be this upward slice attack right here. This button don't really see that much use, to be honest, so it is something to keep in mind. You do have access to it, but it's not something that you're going to be using that much. His jump H is going to be one of his best jump ins when you're jumping at an opponent forward in front of you. So this is going to be a good jumping in front of you button right here, because it goes at a nice angle to catch people, as you can see. And his jump U attack is going to be one of his best buttons to jump in as well. And this is also going to be a cross up button. This button is going to have no problems crossing the opponent up, and it's actually going to pull them in when it actually does it, making it very easy for you to actually get the combo. So you actually could do it quite early in the air, and he just sort of pulls them in, and you can sort of go into your auto combo, into some knockdown, into some damage right there. So it's gonna be very easy to pick up combos for this. So your main jump ins, once again, are gonna be jump H for when they're in front of you, and if you want to go for a jump in front still, or cross up, JU is also really good. So JU is probably going to be the main one you're going to see, and then JH for them really far jump ins that you know are definitely going to land in front, and you're going to need something at that angle. So these are your two main jump ins you're going to see the most. Now, talking about Gran's U attack, this is going to be a move that he can charge up. So it's going to have multiple levels. So you see this, the first level, second level turn blue, you get the purple right here. So this giant charge up, each one is going to have something forward. So as you can see, he's going to have all these different charges right here, and each charge is going to basically power it up. Once it gets to the max charge though, this is where it's going to become an invincible attack. So once it's fully charged, you can let go, and basically makes it become an invincible attack. It's going to give you a wall bounce, and you can actually combo from this. So inside of pressure, when you're doing things, you can sort of press this button, and it's going to be something that you can just sort of let go and do things. So when you press the button, when you press it, you can press any other button, and you can stop the cancel at any point. So you can sort of pick or choose when you want to actually do it, and it could be something scary for your opponents to deal with, because they don't know if you're actually going to let it go. So you could do something like this, and you actually let it go, and then you get the hit, or it is going to be something that's going to be pretty safe on block when done at a distance like this. So when you're fishing for hits, it is going to combo, as you can see here, just like his special moves can combo. But this is going to be something that's going to be probably a little bit safer to do, especially for beginners, is something like this. So the 5H into the 5U, going to give you some nice damage, and also is going to be safe, but also is going to be scary, because it's going to frame trap your opponents, meaning if they mash in between this and this, it is going to hit them. So this is going to be something that's very good, rather than doing this. If you actually do special cancel, it's going to be a true block string, meaning if they did mash, the mash wouldn't come out, because the block is too much block stun, so they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So this one is going to make it to where you actually can capitalize on your opponents actually trying to mash out. So very good button to press in the neutral, and it's going to be one of his furthest reaching buttons. As you can see, like, nothing really goes in as far as this. So this spaced out is going to be actually your best button to press inside of the neutral. Goes very far. Do not underestimate this button. Now, talking about Gran's special moves, so he has access to a fireball, which you would expect from a character like this. So the fireball is going to be pretty good for controlling the space. He also has access to this other fireball, which this version of the fireball, when done correctly, the rising part actually will cancel out another single hit fireball. So this to showcase that. As you can see, I have the Djeeta doing her fireball, and I'm able to cancel it out into my own as long as I get it right. If you mistime this, you will get hit. Just show the mistiming right there. So you do have to wait until you get that out right there. So you do have to hit with the actual rising part of the sword, so you can actually cancel out their single hit fireball. He has access to a EX fireball as well, which will also win a fireball war versus a single hit fireball, as you can see. So this is something you could do, and it's going to be plus. So in your block strings, if you're doing block strings, you can actually just do this, and it will be able to combo on top of being something that is going to be plus inside of your block strings as well. So something good to keep in mind. Having a plus option inside of your block strings is never a bad thing. Gran has also access to a DP. This is going to be the light version. The medium version is going to be this version right here, as you can see. And then he has access to the EX version. Now, both the medium and the EX versions are going to be invincible for you. So when you are knocked down, these are the attacks you could do to basically get off the ground and tell your opponent to stop doing what they're doing, so they are a little bit more hesitant to actually pressure you next time. Now, most characters have 4 special moves, as you can see with the icons at the top, but Gran is unique in the fact that he basically has 3, because the next special move we're going to talk about is going to be tied to actually 2 of the icons up there. So the light version is that icon right there, the down version, and then the medium version is over there to the left icon, as you can see. So this is the same special move input, however they just cover 2 different icons, and it's because it's his Rekka series. So with his Rekka series, the first hit, the light version, is this sort of swiping attack right here, as you can see. And then he has access to this boot attack. You can do the boot separate, or you can do them together in a chain when it hits the opponent. So if it is whiffed as well, you can actually do it, as you can see. But it is something you definitely want to do on hit and not on block, because this actual boot attack is very, very unsafe when it is blocked up close. However, when it is done spaced out like this, it can be something that is going to be advantageous. So learning how to space out this tool with Gran is going to be something that is very good for this character and very crucial to his game plan of getting in on opponents. The EX version of this move will be the thing that causes a wall bounce for him, and this will actually give him a combo. You can actually pick it up for a combo as you see fit and go into whatever you want as your ender. You can do auto combo into DP. To keep it simple, if you're very new to fighting games, this will be something that can get you, you know, right in the door where you get some nice damage. So going into that, into auto combo into DP can be good enough to get you some damage to get started. Now, talking about Gran's dashing attack. So starting out with his dash light, this is going to be plus like pretty much every character in the game. And the button you want to press afterwards is pretty much going to be your medium button, because this is the thing that's going to give you the combo afterwards. So it's a little tight to do, but you can actually get a combo off of this. And this is going to be the main button to actually press off this. Once again, if you're very new to fighting games, just doing this simply into your auto combo, into EX, into your auto combo, into your DP is going to be good enough. This is going to give you some pretty decent damage and is not going to be too difficult for you to do. There are more advanced combos, but we won't be going over combos pretty much in this video. I just want to pretty much go over the character's toolkit so you can see if this is the character you want to play. One normal I did forget to talk about before we actually go into his ultimate skills is his sweep. So his sweep actually gets very low to the ground, actually can go under things like fireballs and certain normals from certain characters because of how low it actually gets. So this is something you definitely can press inside the neutral as well, and then go for those things we were talking about. So you could do sweep into like the Rekka and stuff like that. So the Rekka is probably be the best thing to actually go into and just confirm the first hit, because once again, the second hit is going to be very unsafe. So you don't want to do the whole thing, but if you can see that the first hit hit, then you can go into the second hit, and it's pretty easy to actually tell. But just make sure you actually see that the first hit actually hit before you actually commit to something like that. Now, talking about his ultimate skills, the fireball is going to be very good and very fast, you can see. So it costs 50% meter to do it. However, you get 25% meter back if it actually hits, you can see. So these ultimate skills is something that's going to cause your meter, and you do got to have your cooldown. So keep in mind, it does cost 50 meter to activate, and you get 25 refunded if it hits. Now, the good thing about this is it is going to be a very fast fireball and a very good fireball. So we take the Djeeta's EX here. As you can see, it has 3 hits to it, just like my EX. So they cancel each other out because they both have 3 hits. However, if I do a single hit fireball, then she will cancel out mine, and then I will get hit by 2 hits because it had 2 hits still left on it from actually canceling out my 1 hit. Simple math, right? However, the ultimate skill will nullify this completely and go through hers. So if you want to make sure that you are going to win a fireball war or something like this, you see an EX, you can go with your ultimate skill, and this will make sure that you win. It's very fast, so it's very easy to get this out before fireball hits you, and ensure that you actually get past through their fireball so your fireball actually hits. Another ultimate skill that Gran has is going to be his DP ultimate skill. Now, this is going to be another just invincible DP that he's going to have an explosion, and is going to have a nice animation to it right there. This skill isn't something that I would probably recommend you use too much, just because you already have an invincible DP option that doesn't cost meter, and this doesn't give you any combo extensions or anything like that. It's really fast, but it's not going to give you anything else outside of just another invincible option. So I wouldn't recommend using your meter on this, especially since even when you hit with it, it doesn't give you that refund like, say, the fireball does. So once again, you get that 25% back, and when you do this, you see it's hitting, but you don't get that additional 25% back. So you are spending 50 meter for something that you already have in your regular toolkit, so I don't really recommend that for new players. Now, his last ultimate skill is going to be his boot attack, where he actually does a bounce. So it's going to bound him. They can actually pick this up for an extra combo part. So this is something that can be something to come in with, and it can be something that you can actually extend with combos, because it actually has this bound property that allows you to actually extend. Now, keep in mind, your other kicks are on cooldown, so you will have to extend into something else, like, say, the new mechanic Raging Strike. If you want to know about all these other mechanics and stuff, I do have a video that goes over the mechanics, so check that out if you are not too keen on how the other mechanics in this game work, and that can help you extend your combos even further if need be. So once again, Gran is going to be a nice, friendly beginner character that will teach you a lot about the game, as far as how linking go, space control, and how to use a unique mechanic of the game, and just overall teaching you how to rotate your cooldowns, and overall just teach you the mechanics of the game. So if you want a solid choice, a nice foundation, then Gran will definitely be the character for you to start off with upon playing the free edition of Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. Now, talking about Djeeta, so if you like the idea of Gran, well then Djeeta might be up your alley as well, because they are very similar in the way that they actually try to play the game. So Djeeta is also going to be another all-around character that is going to have pretty much the same toolkit that you expect like Gran. So they're going to have access to a fireball, they're going to have access to a DP, and they're going to have access to their own Rekka-like move. These are going to be the main things inside their toolkit. However, they're going to work a little bit differently than Gran, as well as also having that same charge attack that he had before. So they're going to work a little bit differently in this case. So let's go and talk about it. So the fireball, rather than having the other fireball that he has, she's going to have a light version that travels and then a medium version that travels a little bit faster. But the difference between hers is that she can actually charge it. So the charge version will actually beat out single hit fireballs, and because she actually is charging, it gets bigger, meaning it's harder for people to like get around it. So it's going to be bigger, it's going to be harder to jump, and it's going to throw off timing of people trying to dodge it and spot dodge it and stuff like that. So it can be something to actually help you win the fireball game, because she has a unique timing to her fireballs. Now, as far as her DP go, her DP is going to be pretty standard, just like Gran. So she's going to have the M version and the H version being the invincible versions for her, just like most characters inside this game. And once again, she's going to have her own Rekka series. So this is going to be a Rekka right here. This is going to be pretty unsafe up close, but when you actually space it out with her big normals, as you can see, she has this 5M, which is very good. You're going to be pressing this button a lot in neutral, one of her best buttons, along with her H, which is very similar to Gran. So you can see these buttons in tandem with, say, her Rekka is going to be something that is going to be very good, because it's going to be hard for people to actually punish this tool because of the spacing that it actually goes. So it's going to be like -5, but where she's actually at on the screen, it's going to be hard for people to actually do anything about it. Now, the medium version is going to be a bit slower, but it's also going to be safer. And both of these has an additional follow-up, which is going to be this extra slash attack, which is going to be extremely negative on blocks. So you do want to make sure that you're actually hitting them before you actually commit to the slash, or you will get punished by your opponent. Now, the EX version of this will be something that is going to be comboable. So if we do the EX version, this is going to be her wall splat. As you can see, so it's going to be very similar to Gran with how it works. It's going to give you a splat. You could do the auto combo into DP or whatever combo you want once you actually get the opponent opened up into the EX. So it's going to be the main combo starter that you're going to see for this character once you have them inside the corner. Just like Gran, she's also going to have a charge up move that's going to work very similar as far as its levels. So you're going to see the different levels go up, and then once you get it to max, she's going to have this invincible part to it, which can give them a combo if hit in a certain way. But the thing about it is, it's not going to be an overhead like it looks. So just keep that in mind. This actually is not an overhead, but it's not going to be something that is probably as useful as Gran, because it doesn't have this spacing part to it. So just keep that in mind, that it is something that you can do, but it is going to be a little bit different than how Grans actually work. So as a company to her other big buttons, such as her standing medium and her standing heavy, she also has her standing light, which is also really big. However, this does have a bit of a weird hitbox on it, so it can be kind of hard to use sometimes. However, with the run momentum of the game, it can be something that can be pretty good. Just like this. So you can put a person on a 3-hit block string with their run momentum, because it actually just goes into that from the run. So it makes it a lot easier to actually get her block strings going, and it's going to be one of her good block strings to actually utilize. This is going to be just another really good fast and large button for her to press. Similar to Gran, her air attacks are going to be very similar. So her jump light is going to be this thing that fully goes all the way down, as you can see. So very active. All the way down. Most characters have something like this, if not all. Her JM is going to be something that is going to be a little bit more useful than Gran's, because it actually doesn't go up like his. So you can use this a little bit more than his. JH is going to be pretty much the same way you would utilize Gran's. It has pretty much the same angle, so you can use it like his. And the JU is also going to be pretty much the same, which also actually pulls in and can hit from behind. So this is something you're going to be utilizing very similar to the way his is. It's probably a little bit tougher to use just because of like the angle it covers. It covers like a little bit slightly different angle, it feels like, but it pretty much does the same thing, and you could go into your combos from there once it hits, because it pulls in from behind like we talked about earlier. Now, talking about Djeeta's dash attacks, which are very similar to Gran's, which I forgot to talk about the other two, so I'm glad I'm talking about it here, is going to be her dash light starting off first. Her dash light very similar to Gran's, and this is going to also net your combo with the medium button. Once again, once you have it in the corner, go into your EX, and then you can net yourself a combo from that. The medium version is actually going to be this low strike. Now, this is going to be sort of unsafe to use. However, it is a very far reaching low from your dash momentum, which can catch people walking backwards as they're trying to create space. Going with this low attack, knock them down and take your turn. The other thing that they have is this dashing H. Now dashing H is also going to be unsafe. However, it is going to cause a sort of a crumple state. You see the opponent actually falls down to the ground. You can actually use that and actually combo them from that state, even with a heavy attack. So you could go into your heavy and go from a combo from there. So this is going to be something that's very good if you have the opportunity to actually utilize it. So definitely play around with these dash attacks. Dash light you're going to be using a lot, and dash medium is going to be very good as well. Dash H can come in handy sometimes, but use it sparingly because they are both unsafe, the dash medium and the dash H once again. Now talking about the Djeeta's ultimate skills, they're going to be a little bit different than the actual Gran. So her ultimate skill for the DP is going to be similar in the fact that it's going to be a DP that is invincible, and you're going to be using your meter once again, so probably not the best option to do. The fireball is going to be very similar as well, except for it doesn't go full screen this time, so it's going to be very close up, as you can see. So it's going to be a close up option, and it's going to hit them like this. So it's going to be something that is going to be used close up, and it actually does net you a combo. So this is going to be a little bit different than the Gran version that we're talking about, which does that hard knockdown. You can actually combo from hers, which is going to be something that's going to be used a little bit more closer than actually you probably use Gran. So it's not going to be the same practical use. You can actually use this one for combo purposes. And her last ultimate skill is going to be her Rekka, which isn't going to be the best mid-screen because it actually knocks down like this. However, in the corner, it can be used for combos like the other version. So it's actually going to give a wall bounce like that still, and you're going to be able to go into an auto combo of sorts and go into a combo from there. So both her Fireball and her Rekka ultimate skills are going to be very good combo extenders of sorts. So definitely different than Gran's applications for them. And yeah, they're just slightly different overall. So just a character that is very similar to Gran, but just has some slight differences. So if you like the differences of the Djeeta over Gran, then this may be the character for you. Now, talking about another free character, Zeta. So Zeta is going to be a mid-range offensive character that's going to excel in strong poking and is going to have some really good mobility to move across the screen to harass the opponents with. So if you want a character that has some really good pokings and has the ability to get in and get out of fights really quickly, and this is probably going to be the character for you. So let's go and start talking about Zeta. So their normals are very good. There's their standing light kick, there's their crouching light. They go into each other very easily, probably more easier than I say than like the Djeeta's actually. So you have very good access to stuff like that. Her standing medium, very far poke, as you can see, not as quick as some of the others, but very good. And her crouching medium goes very far, as you see, so very good crouching medium. Standing heavy, also a very nice attack, as you can see, and the crouching heavy goes pretty far up, as you can see. So very good normals, as you can see, not bad at all. The Q button is going to be unique in the fact that it does these multi slashes, as you can see. When you actually press it, it just does these 4. However, if you actually mash it, it actually does more hits. So you're gonna get more hits out of it when you actually mash it. She also is gonna have a pretty large sweep, and it actually does 2 hits. So if you whiff the first hit, the second hit may just hit the opponent because how far it goes. Like, look how far the sweep actually hits them from. So very far sweep, very deceptive as far as how much range it actually has. Now, talking about her jump buttons, her jump light is going to be like the other characters, so it's going to be active all the way down, and it's just going to be just a strike that comes all the way down that you can combo from on hit. The jump medium is going to be this sort of like little flip thing she does. This is going to be a attack you can use to actually go for a cross up. So when you're actually doing pressure and you actually go for a jump, this is probably the attack you're going to use to cross the opponent up to make sure you hit. If you don't press the right button, you won't hit them, so you need to be using a cross up button, and this is going to be one of hers. Then she has her jump H. Her jump H is actually going to be good for air to air. So when an opponent is jumping with you, or you see them jumping, you could jump back with this button or jump forward with this button to try to meet them in the air. This actually is not a bad button for meeting opponents in the air. You got a lot of good range, and yeah, it has a lot of good horizontal range for meeting opponents in the air. So you're going to be using it a lot for that, and probably for certain combos where she goes into the air for. Now, one of the main unique fun things about this character is her JU. So her JU is this giant move where she actually pogos on the opponent's head. So it is very active. Once again, like her JL, like all the JLs, you could do it pretty much from anywhere, and then once it lands on them, you actually could just pogo on their head. And you can press it a couple of times. You actually get a couple of pogos in there, so you could pretty much just, you know, just stump on their head a couple of times and let go anytime you want, and then just go for your actual buttons. Now, the thing about this is it is not going to be like an actual crazy mixed up like you think it would be, because only the first hit of it is actually an overhead. So you see I got hit by it right there, and then I can block the other ones actually crouching. So it's not as crazy as you would think, but the first hit is an overhead that actually can hold your opponent down. So they do have to guess between you doing that, and then when you actually come down with another button, this will be another overhead. So they do have to guess between when the next overhead is coming, and you can sort of mix your opponent up from there. So you can go for like pogo and then go for an overhead again, or you can go for like a throw off of it. You can like pogo and then go for a low. So they do have to worry about the options that you put on the table, which makes this a pretty fun option to use for her offense and very scary for the opponents to deal with. Now, talking about some of her special moves, she does have a fireball in the form of a laser. So this is going to have some very, very fast tri-volt time, as you can see. So it's almost like an instant for the light version. The M version can actually be held, and this is very good once again, because opponents will try to actually do things like spot dodge, right? So try to spot dodge and stuff. It's very hard to know exactly when you're going to let it go. So they try to like do like something like a dodge, and they just fall right into it, as you can see. So this is going to be very good for knocking the timing off of people and actually hitting them with your lasers, so you can throw off their timings, and it is very good for that. EX version is going to be just a giant laser. This is also going to be something that you can use in the corner. It also will give you a wall bounce to do those combos we could talk about earlier. So she has a lot of things that actually allows her to do combos. This is just one of the few ways she does have for combo starters in the corner. Now, another fun thing about the character to talk about is her dash series. So she has this move where she dashes at the opponent, and this is very annoying for people to deal with, because this is the move that allows her to get in and get out. So you can do things and then just simply go in and then go out. So as you see, she is going to perform an auto combo on me, dash in and then dash out. As you see, it's kind of hard to hit her. Like a lot of things, pretty hard to hit her with these buttons. She just dashes in and dashes out very, very far, very quickly, and not a lot of characters have anything to say about this outside of a few characters that have very good range. Like she can even try to dash herself. Very hard to like try to dash herself. But the other thing about it is that it is not just backwards, right? You could go in any other direction that you want. So it is going to be omnidirectional. So as long as you do the first one, you could go in any other direction. So I can go up back. So if I want to go forward and then up back, I can go up back. If I want to go directly up, I can go directly up. If I want to go up forward, I can go directly forward. If I want to go forward, I can go forward. And yes, that does combo. So if you do happen to hit someone, you can go forward for the additional combo and then move forward from there. So it is going to be a very versatile tool as far as its uses, and it does have multiple versions. So this is going to be the forward version. The up version is going to be this. So it goes diagonal, as you can see, and then I can choose where I want to go next. So same thing, I can go down, I can go down back, I can go up again if I really want to, and then there's one that goes straight up. So straight up, and then once again choose the directions that you want. So she has a lot of ways to actually go across the screen, and she can even do this in the air. So one that goes straight down, and then one goes diagonal again. So once again, multiple ways to do it, and you can choose the directions you want. Now this gets even more fun when you actually do the EX versions, because now you have access to 3 directions. So not just 1 but 3, and this actually creates unique combo opportunities for her as well, depending on the sequences that you do. As you can see, you could actually extend the combo from the actual EXs and go into further plays from there. So she is very versatile in her movement and her ability to create freeform combos from this actual movement that she is doing. So it is very interesting and very fun to play around with if you want something like that. Now the last of her special moves to talk about is her parry. So unlike the other 2 characters that have invincible DPs, she has access to a parry, and this parry is going to be pretty unique as far as how it works, because it has multiple moves you could use out of it. Now as far as the parry goes, it doesn't actually parry everything on every version. So we see the parry here, he actually does a stance, but this will actually lose to certain things like lows. However, she does have one that actually goes low. So she has 2 different ones, this one and this one. So this one right here will actually beat things that are low. So if I try to do something that's a low here, you'll actually beat it. However, if I go for a mid, then it actually loses. But she does have the EX version. Now the EX version will beat both mids and lows, as you can see. So this is going to be your safe bet for things if you are scared about what your opponent is actually going to do to you. However, because this is not a true reversal and just a parry, this can actually be thrown. So keep in mind, this is not going to be a foolproof reversal option. So she does not have a foolproof reversal option, but she just has a parry that actually loses the throw. So you do have to be careful about how you utilize it. Now, when you are actually using it, there are actually a few things you can actually do. So one of the things is her light attack, which is going to be this sort of slash. And in the corner, this can actually be a wall bounce. So you can actually even do this in your combo. So yes, your parry is also a combo tool. Pretty cool, right? The medium version of this is going to be this swipe up attack. So this is also going to be something you can actually combo from in the corner. So another way to actually combo from your parry inside of the corner. And the last follow-up is going to be her H follow-up, which is going to be this sort of hop. And this is going to be the main one that you're going to probably be utilizing if you're going to utilize this, because of just the properties of it allows her to get out of the corner. So if you're doing it in the corner, you can fly out the corner, say for say, or if it hits them, you can sort of like send them across the screen. It just creates space overall for each situation. And if used in the corner, of course, it is going to allow you to combo from it accordingly like the other one. So you could go into some pretty nice combos from this as well. So either way, this is probably going to be the follow-up you use the most, but the other ones do have their applications for sure. Now, talking about Zeta's ultimate skill. So her first ultimate skill is this fireball right here. This is going to be a giant laser, similar to how the other ones we were talking about. So it is going to be other projectiles because of it just being a multi-projectile laser strike. And this is also going to be something you can utilize in the corner that also will give you combo opportunities. So you can combo from this in the corner as well. Zeta also has a ultimate skill parry, as you can see, and this parry does not have follow-up. So I can press all these buttons I want, nothing will come out. However, when it actually is hit, it does have a special animation. Now, unfortunately, you cannot combo off this like the other ones, but it is going to be something that is going to be foolproof like the EX version and is going to have some damage to it. The last two ultimate skills to talk about for Zeta is going to be tied to her actual lunge attacks. So the first one is going to go practically full screen and is going to send them really close to you. And yes, you actually can combo from this. Now mid screen, it is going to be pretty hard to actually get something, but in the corner, you actually do get a pretty easy follow-up. Just like that. The other one is a little bit more tricky to use because it actually doesn't combo on crouching opponents and it doesn't actually hit crouching opponents. So it has to be on standing opponents or used as like an anti-air, but it does the same animation and you can pretty much combo from it the same inside of the corner. So again, if you don't mind a character that has some slower startup buttons and don't have an actual invisible reversal but has a parry, but has all the range in the world and going to have really good movement along with a laser fireball with tricky to use timings for opponents to deal with, then Zeta may be the character for you. And last but certainly not least is going to be Siegfried. Now Siegfried is going to be a long ranged weapon powerhouse character. So if you want someone that is going to do massive damage with big normals, then Siegfried may definitely be the character for you. So let's go and start talking about their normals. Starting off with their standing light, massive light kick. As you can see, they got really good range for a light kick, as you can see here. Crouching light, nothing too crazy to really talk about, but the mediums is where things start to shine a little bit more. So the standing medium is going to be this attack right here. Really good range for a standing medium. And the crouching medium, massive range, even more range probably than the standing medium, just ever so slightly, if not the same amount. So very good range on both of these skills. Now talking about the standing heavy attack, this has massive range, as you can see. So massive range on this attack. Very big poke, very hard for a lot of characters to deal with a poke like this. It is very slow on the startup, has a lot of recovery, but it is definitely very big. So people are going to have to tread carefully when dealing with this move, but you do want to try to make sure that this move is connecting with the opponents, or you will be seeing whiff punishes or people jumping over your attacks. So be careful with how you use it. And the crouching heavy, a massive button, is barely tipping over the health bars themselves. So massive anti-air, as you can see. Now talking about Siegfried's jump normals, his jump light is going to be pretty similar to everybody else. It's going to be something that's active all the way down to the ground. His JM is going to be probably his best cross up button, as you can see right here. So this is going to be a button you're going to use to cross up, and it does sort of vortex in like the other ones we talked about, and he can combo from it pretty easily. His jump heavy is probably going to be his best actual jump in button in the front. Not going to have the best reach on the way down, but it is going to probably just be the best button he could use outside of his jump M, which is going to be that cross up button we talked about earlier. Now his most unique button is going to be his JU. which is going to be this ground slam. This is actually going to hit in the front and back, and is actually going to halt his momentum in the air. The reason why this is so important is because a lot of anti-airs actually don't go super high, which means he can actually bait them out by halting his momentum inside of the air. Before we talk about special moves, talking about his dash buttons, his dash light is going to be this little kick he does, and once again, like the others, he's going to be able to combo from it with the M button. So you're going to be able to combo from with the M button like the other characters and go into different things from that. His M version is going to be this low. Once again, it's going to be negative like the others, but with the spacing that it covers, it's going to be pretty hard to punish it if you are actually hitting it around the tip range. So try to hit it around the tip range and you'll be pretty safe from that. And his H is actually going to be this double slash attack. Now this is going to be different than the others that we talk about because it's not going to cause a crumple. It's just going to be sort of just a double slash, and he really can't do anything else afterwards. So this is a double slash, and that's pretty much it. Now for Siegfried special moves, he's going to have access to a fireball, and this is going to be a unique fireball because it actually travels on the ground. So the difference between ones that travel on the ground and ones that are like hovering in the air is the fact that you actually cannot go through them with the dash attack. So if you see I try to dash through it, because it actually covers the ground space, I cannot do this. So this is going to cover this. So it pretty much mitigates one option that a lot of people will utilize versus fireball. So it forces them to actually use the spot dodge a lot more. The spot dodge is a little bit more trickier to use because it actually just sort of stops you rather than moving you forward. So it is probably going to be a little bit harder for people to get past the fireballs of Siegfried. And speaking of getting past the fireballs of Siegfried, his M fireball is this massive wall, as you can see here. So not only is it going to cover the ground for people trying to go through it with the roll, but it's going to be very hard for people to jump over this fireball as well. And if they happen to get past it, because it is slow moving, you can walk behind it and just be there for the anti-air when they try to actually jump past it. The EX version of the fireball is going to be pretty much a faster version of his M version, and is going to do multiple hits. As you see, this can be used in combos with his light attack, so you can actually combo afterwards and go further if you want to spend more EXs. Of course, with a character like this, he also have access to a DP, so you do have an invincible reversal with the M version and EX version both being invincible for you. Now, talking about his sword slam attack, the light version is going to be this fast slam right here, and this is going to be something that plays nicely with your big straight hit. So you go into something like this, you can go into the light version and actually tack on some damage like this. So it is going to be very nice for that. And he has this M version, which is going to be very nice for a big counter hit. So you happen to get a counter hit, this version is also going to combo from the counter hit. One other unique thing about this is this actually can be charged, as you see, and the charge version is actually going to launch them up in the air, and you can actually combo from it. Not only this, but if it actually is blocked, this is going to actually be plus if the opponent allows you to actually charge this up. You can also charge up the EX version, which pretty much does the same thing, but pretty much a little bit faster. So it's pretty much the M version, but just charges faster, and of course it also just combos naturally from your hits as well. So another fast version you can utilize, and another version that can also be plus for some plus frames along with his fireballs. So one thing we didn't talk about the fireball is the fact that it's actually plus, just like this with the EX version. But one thing I want to note from the M fireball is the space control that it actually covers. So this is going to be a pretty unique scenario for characters that have big slow fireballs and big normals, such as Siegfried, where they can sort of press their opponent with something like this. So pressing a button and then going into your big slow fireball is going to be very hard for people to deal with, because it's going to be hard for them to jump over it because you're in a perfect space to where you can anti-air them, but it's going to be hard for them to press a button because you are at a very sparse spacing. So there's going to be pretty much nothing to hit, and they got a giant wall coming at them, and look at that, you're plus 30. So bullying someone with something like this is going to be very hard for them to deal with. They can't actually roll through it because, once again, the roll actually loses to grounded fireballs. So the only option they have is access to is something like this. So it makes it very hard for them to deal with this, outside of trying to figure out when you're going to press this button, because they could try to roll through that. So that is going to probably be the biggest bet for them to try to do it. But it is going to be up to them to know how to deal with this, and up to you to figure out when they're going to try to do something like this, so you can actually punish them accordingly. And the last thing to talk about is his swing series. So he has this move where he swings his sword around and he goes into this stance. So the stance has a couple of follow-ups. The first follow-up is going to be the light version, which does this swing upwards. Now the swing upwards is actually not going to hit crouching opponents. So we have him block, you'll see that it'll just whiff on the crouching opponent just like that. The other version is going to be this counter. So he has a counter. So if they press a button afterwards, it will do an attack that pushes them off. Just like that. So you can see it launches them across the screen and basically tells them to stop trying to mash on your counter. The next follow-up is going to be his C follow-up. So this follow-up is going to launch him in the air like this, and he's going to do these 2 ground slams such as that. So this is going to be something that is going to be very good at dealing with people that like to crouch mash. So people that like to block low and then mash a button while crouching, this will beat them trying to do that. So we have him do it. Now try to mash a button. You can see it just beats it. Even with this big like leg button, right, you can see right here, it's just going to straight up just beat me, right? So it's going to beat these buttons out really well. And yeah, it's just very good at dealing with those. Now it is going to be something that is unsafe on block, and the other option is probably going to be a bit safer on block. But if you know that they are going to try to do something like that, this is the option that you could put on the table. And the last option you could do, once you got people scared of all the things you could do from this, is simply command grab them. So he does have access to a command grab from this as well. So once again, he has access to this slash attack, which is good for like combo stuff. He has access to the counter to stop people from mashing. You have this to also stop people from ground mashing. And once they're all scared, you have access to the command throw. Also from this, you can just hold it back, and this will basically take you out the stance. So this is what the stance look like. He just has his hand out, and then if you just hold back, he will just cancel it. So if you hold back immediately, you just won't even see the stance pretty much, and you're pretty much out of it. Making it pretty safe on block at like -7, so it can be punished a bit, but if you space it out correctly, you don't have to worry about being punished because of how far he is. Now, talking about his ultimate skills, the DP is going to be pretty much like the other one. So if you use it, it's going to be another invincible one, which I really don't recommend because you already have 2 invincible ones. So why waste 50 meter on something like that? But he does have some pretty other good ones. The fireball one is going to be very fast, as you see. So very fast. Travel on the ground is going to be the M version pretty much. And yeah, it's going to travel extremely far on the ground. It's also going to net him a combo in the corner. So it is going to give a wall bounce, as you can see. It's going to be very nice for this character to actually utilize. The other version is going to be this right here. So this is going to basically have super armor, meaning if he does this, you can't hit him, right? So unless the move is out, you can't hit him, and he will just do a ground slam near you. So you can try to hit him all you want. It has super armor. You won't be able to hit him. But once the move is actually coming out, you can try to hit him. Just because of super armor doesn't mean you can't stop it, though. You can just get grabbed out of it. So just keep that in mind. But it is going to have armor, so people won't be able to hit you out of it. And the last thing is going to be the sort of swing attack. This is going to have an automatic follow-up where he actually pushes them towards the corner, as you can see. So it's going to be very good for like if you're like mid-screen, if you want to push them really far. He runs them all the way to the corner pretty much. And yeah, so this is going to be a very good move to put the opponent in the corner so you can start your main game plan of actually going for this right here. So it gets very scary very quickly once you get this on the table. Now, the last thing we have not talked about is the most unique thing about this character, and it's the ability to sacrifice his life with his unique button. So this is going to sacrifice his life. As you see, I have 1 stack, and it's going to drain down. And once it drains down, it's pretty much going to leave. So you can continue to stack up to 3, and every time you do it, it's going to refresh the counter and sacrifice a little bit more life. So the goal of this is to try to keep the counter as healthy as possible at the 3 stack mark, because this is where he's going to get his most damage. So if we just press a button, you'll see that he is going to do more damage when he has it on. So this is it normally, as you see, pretty much going to like where the middle of the E is. You put on 3 stacks, bam, is going past the S as far as how much damage is actually being done. Now you may notice that the actual stack itself actually goes down faster. So when we have 1, it's pretty slow. 2, it starts to drain a little bit faster. 3, it drains really fast. So you really have to stay on your toes and like keep it up, because if it goes off, you have to put it back on. So it's better to keep it on when it goes like down rather than letting it go off and having to sacrifice 3 more times to get the 3 stacks again. So trying to keep it at this point is the best that you could possibly do. And once again, the third one is going to take a little bit less life than the other 2. So just to showcase the big difference between the damage that you can actually do with this, just doing a simple hit into super, this is what the damage would look like with just 1 hit of his standing H, his standing close H into super. Not too crazy right there. So about like 40% or 40-50%, right? However, if we have 3 stacks on him, look at the difference of the damage now. as you can see, he took around like 90% damage from that, and it is absolutely crazy how much damage he takes. Now granted, he does have the sort of diamonds at the top going, so if we do it one more time just to make sure that isn't playing any tricks, but you can directly tell that the big difference of damage is definitely here. So he's going to get a huge increase in the amount of damage that he is doing. So having these stacks up while you're going for these massive hits is going to be the main thing that really pushes this character forward. So having this up and going for these simple hits is really going to add up on people very, very quickly, along with his fireball game, being able to bully them and stuff like that. So if you don't mind playing a character that lives on the edge a little bit, as well as having some big normals, a way to bully with giant fireballs and big normals and big damage, then this may be the character for you. And that pretty much covers the main tool sets of the first wave of characters that are going to be free to play inside of the first wave of Granblue Fantasy Versus Free Edition. So hope you guys found this useful, and as always, if you like anything I had to say, drop me a like, I greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, follow my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so your next video goes live. As always, my name is Dyken, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.